So adaptogens are really herbs or foods that help us adapt to stress. And that can be physical stress, mental stress, emotional stress. And so that's kind of where that term comes from. And in Ayurveda, there's a similar concept, and we call these substances rasayanas, which are rejuvenative tonics. When I think about food as adaptogenic, I think about eating the rainbow. So when we think about the substances that make plants or foods a different color, bright colors, they have antioxidants in them, and those help our bodies fight free radicals, which could be considered something that happens when we're exposed to stress. And then there are a lot of foods in Ayurvedic medicine that are adaptogenic. One of my favorites is amla, and it's a small sour fruit, high in vitamin C. So that really helps support our immune system and our adrenal glands, which are, of course, responsible for releasing cortisol and epinephrine and all of that when we're under stress. Mushrooms are considered adaptogenic. We know that these mushrooms help our natural killer cells in the immune system. They help scavenge for unhealthy dividing cells, so cancer. They help our brain, so nootropic. And turmeric, of course, it's very well known for anti-inflammatory properties, but it is an adaptogenic herb. So we know turmeric, there's so much research out there. It helps us stabilize blood sugar. It's not only helpful for stimulating the immune system, like if you're fighting infection, but when we use it on a daily basis, it's actually an immune modulator. And why that's important is because sometimes when people have autoimmune disease, we don't necessarily want to stimulate the immune system. We want to help it re-regulate. So sometimes that's actually down-regulating immune cells that have kind of gone haywire. And so not only, anti-inflammatory, but immune modulating, regulating blood sugar. And so it's just one of those awesome herbs that is definitely an adaptogen. There's quite a bit, but one of the ones that might be familiar with to a lot of people is Tulsi, which is holy basil. Mm-hmm. And so, it's in the basil family, it's spice, and it can be very helpful if taken on a daily basis for immune support, for stress response. Some of my other favorites are actually in the asparagus family. So we can think about these as food, and that is shatavari or asparagus racemosus, and then saffed muesli. And so shatavari is very helpful for women's health, for fertility, for lactation, and very helpful for kind of decreasing that stress response so that we can have a libido. And saffed muesli is kind of the same thing for males, but they can also be used interchangeably between the sexes. And then the other herbs I would think about, like moringa, which is really helpful for blood sugar, and also helps with lactation. There are quite a few. Ashwagandha, of course, is a very well-known herb for being an adaptogenic herb, and one that I personally took before I got pregnant recently. And now that I have had my baby, it is back on board for sure. So.